So is stress a big reason why you overeat? And if it is, how do I know and how do I break out of that cycle? So hi, I'm Vanessa McLennan and welcome back to my channel, and on here we talk about the psychology of all things binge eating, emotional eating and overeating and weight loss. So on this video I'm going to give you tips on how to recognize that you're stressed, managing your stress levels so that you stop turning to food to help you cope. But you could be stressed and you don't know it because it's this underlying level of stress. Stress is going to be present in our lives, but at varying degrees depending on what we're going through. But stress definitely makes us overeat because when we are stressed, we have this hormone released called cortisol, and that makes us hungry. You see, our brains need fuel to help us cope with this flight or fight situation. So this is what drives us to eat. But in those levels of perhaps high acute stress, you may not feel hungry because in that moment, the brain is really focused on survival, which is that fight or flight. But after it comes down from that high level of stress, it needs to replace, the fuel, the energy that it's used. And of course, it's going to turn us to food to do that. And usually it's the high sugary, high fatty, salty foods because that's the one that's going to give us most energy. And what we don't see is the psychological side of us turning to food, but when we're stressed. I think after we've had a bad day, we perhaps say, oh my God, I've had a hard day. I really deserve that food as a treat, or we think we've had a lot to cope with. So we feel low, we feel, drained, and we feel stressed out. And what makes us feel better? The food. And of course, again, it's those highly sugary or fatty foods that we turn to because in that moment, they're the things that give us comfort, but also treat us, they give us the oomph that we need. They make us feel better in that moment because we deserve it because we've been through a tough day. So in that moment of trying to stop ourselves from turning to food, because what happens is we turn to food and then it's afterwards we have the come down where we go, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that cake, and we feel really annoyed with ourselves. But if we try to stop it in that moment, it's really, really difficult because it's like this huge urge of wanting to eat because we're in that, high intense moment. So instead, it's looking at managing our stress levels, on an everyday single basis. And when we can manage our stress levels and, we feel a lot calmer in life, the things that once annoyed us perhaps don't annoy us so much. And also because we feel that we can cope better, we stop turning to food as much. So here are some tips on how to manage your stress levels. Tapping, which is also known as emotional freedom technique. And so this is where you use the first two fingers of this hand and you tap on certain acupressure points like here. The theory behind it is when we have suffered trauma or, just upsets, that energy gets stuck in our bodies. And the acupressure points follow the same Chinese meridian lines in the body. And so by tapping on these acupressure, points, what we're doing is starting to move the energy, that stagnant energy that's causing us to be stuck, starting to move it through the body. And it also uses a bit of CBT. So what we might do is acknowledge, how it is that we're feeling. So even though I'm feeling really, really stressed and I'm stressed because X, Y, Z, and then we finish with saying, but I completely love and accept myself. And that is a bit of CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, where we're focusing then on the positive. So by tapping on this to say, look, even though I'm stressed and I'm stressed because I completely love and accept myself. And we just tap through the points. Even though I'm stressed, it's okay. I love and accept myself. And even though I'm stressed, it's okay. I love and accept myself. And even though I'm stressed, I love and accept myself. And even though I'm stressed, I love and accept myself. And even though I'm stressed I love and accept myself. And even though I'm really stressed, I completely love and accept myself. And even though I'm really stressed because it's okay. I love and accept myself. And even though I'm really stressed, it's okay because I love and accept myself. So just doing a round of that now has just made me feel calmer. There's something quite meditative about just the tapping, but also the acknowledgement of where we are, and then the I love and accept myself. It's almost saying to ourselves, no, it's okay to feel like this. It's perfectly normal to feel like this. And again, it helps us pause in that moment, and it gives us a moment to be able to think through that, and that helps us calm us down. So you can do this discreetly if you're at work, if you're on public transport, by just either tapping on that point with those two fingers, or there's a bit here just under your collarbone. You'll find it's like a little sensitive spot. Just by tapping there, deep breathing while you're doing it, and that can just help you in that moment. Drink before you go to eat something. This is about actually changing your pattern, and when we are wanting to change from an old pattern to a new pattern, we need to do something called a pattern interrupt. That is, have something that breaks that psychological old pattern, because we just go on, auto system, don't we? We don't think about what we're doing. So we need something to break that train of thought so that we can go, oh, okay, and choose something new. And then that helps us create, new patterns. So let's say your pattern is always, oh, I'm a bit peckish, I'm going to go to the cupboard. We might not even think about it. You just peckish, just find yourself heading towards the cupboard. So you need something to break that. So you could have, a great big red sign on it. You could have, train yourself to shout, stop, in your mind when you find and when you look at that cupboard. And in that moment, practice going to get a drink of water. So this is just pouring yourself a drink. You don't have to drink it. It's just about breaking that pattern, doing something different, having a sip of water to just give yourself a moment to breathe, to then go, do I really need those crisps or chocolate? No, I don't. Take a breath, drink water, and you may find that helps you interrupt your pattern so you break those old habits. Have healthy snacks to hand. In the transition period between, getting healthier, old habits can be hard to break. So we sometimes have to transition, a bit gently. So if we are so used to going into the cupboards and getting the chocolate and the crisps, we might have, healthier snacks, because we might not be able to stop that eating straight away. But if we have healthier alternatives, we can transition slowly to that. So it's look for like vegetable crisps, or just low-fat crisps, or those baked crisps, so they're not so salty and fatty. And if you also go down those, free from aisles, they will give you alternative snacks that are just actually as tasty, but like those pressed fruit bars and oat bars, for instance, instead of high chocolate bars. So they're probably a lot more filling than the chocolates. Get out, change your environment. So when we are, at work and we're perhaps really, really busy, or we're in just a stressful day, we perhaps need that just change of environment to break our state. So it could be that we just go outside of the building, that we just walk around the block, we just go to the park quickly. Even if you don't live in a green area, just getting outside of your house, walking up and down the street, getting in your back garden, something, and just help you move, even if it is only for a minute, because we often get stuck in the thoughts of, I've got so much to do, I can't break, where I am, I haven't got time to do it. But it's that's causing us to keep stressed. So just get out, move, break your state for a minute, deep breathe, just do some stretching, do some movement, and it just makes you feel better for that moment. Deep breathing. Develop a deep breathing, meditational practice. So this really helps. You might think, how on earth is breathing going to help me manage my stress? But when we start, deep breathing, one, we're bringing a lot more oxygen into the body, which helps us feel a bit more revitalized and just, energetic. But also psychologically, when we start doing that meditation practice, we are pausing, for a moment, that analytical brain, the part that's going, well, why should I do this? What about this? The argumentative, questioning brain. Instead, it's pausing that. And so that's letting the unconscious brain come up a bit more, which is just, the quieter side of us. So it's pausing almost our thinking for us. Often in life we're stressed because we feel like we're on this hamster wheel, and we're busy, we're doing things, we're thinking about things. What should we do for work? What should we eat? And there's just no stopping. So when we can pause that for a moment, it allows us to just start focusing on us, focusing on our bodies, and just focusing on getting, I suppose, in tune with ourselves. And doing that, it helps us really sort of calm, and we can breathe a bit more. And when we've developed that practice, we do start noticing being calmer in life and just a bit more affable to things happening, and things just stop bothering us so much. So it's an amazing practice, and the best time to do it probably is before you go to sleep, and just start with 2 minutes a day and take it from there. So if you like what you see on this channel, please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.